Hi. Ari, hi. Okay, just first before we start, because he's right there. See Ari? What color is Ari's hair? This is the first test. Why is Ari's hair blue? Because we're committed to our sponsors at camp. Ari recently had a great partnership in place with one of the best new characters in children's media, Bluey. And so we have a big Bluey traveling tour right now in Ari because he goes all in. What was it, jump in? We're jumping in with the blue hair, the whole thing. Anyway, welcome to camp. How many people's first time at camp? Never been here? Okay, well, you are in the worst part of camp. This is an empty room that we use for events and birthday parties and all sorts of things, but there's a lot more to camp than what's in this room, and hopefully throughout the day you can explore not just this floor, but where it all starts downstairs, where we've combined play, product, and programming into what we believe is a really cool new way of retailing. I'll start with a little bit of a primer since many of you are new to camp. I have a video to show. Okay, so this is our first store. You walk in, looks like an old school general store. Toys, gifts, apparel, a little bit of something for everybody. But the secret to camp is this. It's a magic door. Families push the magic door open, and behind the magic door is an 8,000 square foot black box theater that changes its show every 4 months or so. So it could be Cosmic Camp, an intergalactic space adventure. Cooking Camp, the world of food, from farm to table. Travel Camp, a trip around the world. We also have things like Paw Patrol Camp, and we've recently partnered with some of the biggest studios out there to build really fun, immersive experiences. The whole idea of camp is that we build permanent retail stores with temporary shows that roll in to keep the environment dynamic and fresh for people that are coming to visit. Cool. So I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I don't like do the whole talking thing very much. I don't love it. I'm just telling you now. And I was asked to do this by Nicole, who's very amazing and handles a lot of our brand partnerships. And I said, okay, do you want me to do like the corporate one where I do stand up here and click through a bunch of slides, or like are we trying to do something different? And Nicole was like, no, with this crowd in the morning, we need to be having fun. And that's very on brand for camp. So I'm trying something right now that I've never done before. You guys are along for a ride. She's very nervous. That's the Nicole nervous giggle. That's the Nicole nervous giggle. And we're gonna do a choose your own adventure keynote, because that feels right for camp, okay? You guys signed up for it? No? Maybe? Oh, okay. First question. You can either choose, you started a what? Or you survived COVID how? So I'm gonna do this by round of applause. Should we do, you started a what? Or you survived COVID how? Well, we did survive. So I think you chose the right one. Actually, I probably have accurately predicted your choice on every single moment, but it still makes the choose your own adventure structure fun. So I'll work a little bit of COVID into this, just a little bit. This was the night before we closed our store, okay? We had a brand partnership with a company called Imperial Toys, which was pushing a product called Lick a Bubble. So on the eve of COVID, okay? On the eve of COVID, we were blowing bubbles into customers' mouths. So I just want to set the stage for how we started this company. We started this company in an era where you could lick things, climb things, touch things, and do all of this and have off your phone interactive fun as a family. But obviously things slightly changed. To hear the story of camp, you started a what? Why start a multi-unit national general merchandise retailer in 2018 when we started? We knew it was going to be hard, but the journey led us here pretty naturally. And the way I think about this is we in the subject of the group or the title of the group, Brand Innovators, we kind of like innovated our way into this category and into this market. And it all started with this lady. Does anyone know who this is? This is Mindy. Mindy's my mom. Okay. This is Mindy in her happy place. Does anyone know where Mindy is? Correct. Bloomingdale's on 59th Street. Does anyone know why Mindy's at Bloomingdale's on 59th Street? She's looking at her retail fixtures. So I grew up with my weekends were with my mom looking at her fixtures. My mom makes retail fixtures for a living, and all she does on weekends is do store walks and see how her fixtures are holding up. This is how I grew up. It wasn't too long after my middle and high school time that I started to start tinkering and start working in her factory and making my own stuff. And I was a bad student sitting in the back of math class trying to listen to my iPod without my teacher realizing I wasn't listening to her. And I created an Apple accessory, an iPod accessory at the time because the iPhone wasn't out. And I created what was my first company, which was Mophie. It was an Apple accessory company. Oh, wow, a fan of Mophie. Okay, Mophie is named after my two dead dogs, Molly and Sophie. They weren't dead at the time we started the company. But now you have a fun fact that you can take with you. After Mophie, people started coming up to me with product ideas. And I thought it would be cool to build an internet platform where people submitted their product ideas, and we took the best ones off the internet and turned them into real consumer goods that were available at mass retailers. And you can imagine my fixture kind of upbringing and the disappointment I had when I realized that when you create a mass consumer product brand that winds up at the Target, Walmarts, et cetera of the world, this is ultimately how your brand shows up. And so ultimately, I was starting to think about, okay, well, how do I close the loop? And now Corky died. Mophie, obviously, you thought it was good, yeah. Corky, that company died, and I wish it was the retail fixturing and the rollout at the mass guys, but it wasn't. It was all sorts of other issues. The main one was that we didn't control our own destiny. We could not tell our story. We were beholden to the big box retailers to close the loop, tell people that these products were invented by people just like them, et cetera. And so after Corky died, me and a couple of friends were obsessed with trying to figure out how to close the loop, how to create a product that started with an audience and then looped back to a product. So the next thing that happened in my journey as an entrepreneur was we created a brand called Homesick Candles. They're candles that smell like where you're from. Now you would think if you're starting a candle company, the idea would be candles, like let's start a candle company, but it wasn't. It was what's the most identifiable audience on Facebook that has the lowest CPM, and it was people that recently moved. And we said, what do you sell people that recently moved? You sell them nostalgia, you sell them sense of smell, and that's how we landed on Homesick. So I went from real creativity, full-on invention, ground up, to let's actually just do the easiest thing possible, which is fish where the fish are and sell people candles. The candle company got acquired by BuzzFeed, and I wound up at BuzzFeed as a CMO, trying to break them into new. Oh, hey, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you. You heard this already. You know this story. Okay, so keep going. Got it. Okay. So we created a whole commerce division at BuzzFeed, and we started to create really shareable articles. Kind of take that same point of view that we took on shareable product with Homesick and try and bring it into broad category. Consumer product development. We took a brand like Tasty, which was the internet's #1 internet video thing for food, and we turned it into a huge line of cookware and bakeware at Walmart, and we did all sorts of fun things, and then this happened. I had kids. And this is Rocco and Marty. There's now a third one, which was an interesting choice. The thing that started to happen is I live here in Manhattan, and we just started to try and figure out how do we have fun as a family? How do we break off our phone, get out, start to have fun on a ritualistic basis, and always have a place to go? And there was nothing. And so I'm sitting at BuzzFeed as CMO, listening to marketers talk about their problems, watch them spend a lot of money on experiential marketing, which is highly inefficient. You build a whole set, you throw it out. And then you build a whole nother set. I was like, okay, how can you make experiential marketing more efficient? How can you create a destination for families to kind of have fun together outside of the home? And then in March of 2018, this happened. Toys R Us went bankrupt. And it felt like the whole journey from my upbringing in fixturing, my experience of working with mass retail, it felt like the world needed a ground-up construction retailer. and we knew it was going to be hard. We didn't know exactly how hard it would be, but we started camp because we felt like it needed to exist in the world. It was one of these things. There was a small group of us, five or seven of us, who had worked together for a really long time, and we felt like there was a need for a brand that families could grow up with. And we'll talk about that more in just a bit. But first, your second choice. Okay? So this is a choose your own adventure keynote. It's here for Wet Fart. Let's try that again. Let's hear for Wet Fart. All right. Okay, let's hear it for RFP. I'm on the fence. For RFP, for the RFP. Okay. No, this is a real choice. We have to make a choice together. Do we choose Wet Fart? Okay, this is just a little bit of a break. It's a Wet Fart competition. So, Nicole, let's start. Let's hear. Take the mic. With a non-camp person who wants to do it. Anyone? Any non-camp volunteers for the Wet Fart? Amazing. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay, good. Thank you. You just earned yourself a free ice cream. Do we have ice cream in the store? No, we don't. You'll get something, I promise. So I don't know why I did that. Okay, so then the next choice. It makes sense or it does not make sense? It makes no sense. So it made no sense. Okay, so we started camp. We started a retailer. We opened our first store in December of 2018. It was our Fifth Avenue store in Flatiron, New York City. We then built 4 more stores that all opened in the 60 days before COVID. Yeah, I know. It was bad. It was bad. But we have a really amazing group of people at camp that try and figure out how to solve any single problem thrown at them. So in Makes No Sense, what would be the most unlikely partner for a company like camp that you could think of? Anybody? Huh? Walmart. Yeah, that happened. Anyone else? Anyone else? We actually did partner with Walmart in the 30 days after COVID happened. We created something called Camp by Walmart, which was an interactive summer camp. So Walmart was getting a little bit of flack that they were profiteering off the pandemic and they wanted to do something amazing for the community. And so they contracted with us to create something called Camp by Walmart, which was a 100. What was it? How many episodes was it, Kirk? 180 episodes of interactive video content with LeBron James, Neil Patrick Harris, yeah, all of the famous people. And this is a company. At the time, our corporate team was 20 people. We had no experience shooting any single video. We had no ability to do anything. Luckily, we quickly assembled as a team and created something called Camp by Walmart, which was one of the ways we survived the pandemic. But even more nonsensical was a partnership that developed directly after the start of COVID. We closed our stores on March 15th, all of our stores. So we went from an early stage startup with pretty good revenue and whatever trucking along to zero revenue, zero stores, zero anything. And my son's birthday is March 15th. And I believe Nicole's nephew's birthday is...
Yes, River's birthday. It's March 18th.
March 18th. And so somewhere between March 15th and March 18th, we realized we had hundreds of kids in our database that were celebrating their birthday every day from March 15th on to April, May, et cetera. So we said, okay, what if we did virtual birthday parties, which is the saddest thing on the planet. Like watching kids celebrate their birthday in quarantine was really sad until we brought the fun to it. And it was amazing. So on March 15th, we closed the stores. I think on March 16th, or I think River's birthday was the first one we did on March 18th. So 3 days later, we started doing virtual birthday parties. Over the course of COVID, we celebrated 50,000 kids' birthdays virtually on camp.com. And it was amazing. We had camp counselors from our stores, our staff. We were able to keep a lot of them on to do birthday programming. And again, unlikely things. It makes no sense. About 3 weeks in, was it 3 weeks in? About 3 weeks in, Nicole called me up and she said, "What if we partnered with Ally Bank?" And that to me is something that makes no sense. How does a experiential family toy retailer partner with something like Ally Bank? And the whole idea was that they were trying to do a couple of things. Number one, surprise and delight customers. Number two, teach financial literacy, or three, and so on. So we started this partnership very small, and they started to send birthday gifts to our customers' houses, and it was amazing. And it continued to snowball from there until April of 2021. So we did it for all of 2020. In April 2021, they're like, okay, people want to get back out, vaccines happening, blah, blah, blah. So we created something called the Your Store event. And this is one of the things that, on surface, camp partnering with Ally makes no sense. But when you hear about what we did, it makes total sense. We decided to hand the keys of the store to the kids. Ally wanted to teach financial literacy to families, so we said, all right, kids, run a store. And so we created a whole program around basically closing our store for a weekend and letting kids actually run the store. What took place here was we let kids invent products, we let them sell their products, we let them, what are the other? They had to negotiate the different prices of things. They had to restock the floor. It was amazing. And again, not only was that right for the camp brand, letting kids be in control, but it was right for their brand, and it worked together. And the entire development of this company has been in partnership with innovative marketers that want to do weird stuff that breaks through the noise, and this is a great example of something that makes no sense. Okay, another break. Do you want to choose dirty or clean? Dirty or clean? Dirty? Okay, you all just won yourself a free trip to the splatter room. But on this one, I'm also contractually obligated to tell you the clean choice was you're all getting 20% off at camp today, so feel free to shop downstairs. So those were the two options there. Okay, finally, what's next or what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? We should know.
Huh? What could go wrong? Everything. So I will tell you, I can answer the what could go wrong question at camp. You know, here we are today. We have 9 stores. 6 of them are full format with the magic door and major kind of ticketed shows that families visit on a regular basis. We've been lucky to kind of like go from fully physical to fully digital to a blend of digital and physical. It's been quite a journey in the 4 years we've been doing this. What could go wrong? There are basically like 3 major things that I think we as a company are most focused on making sure don't happen. Number one is this brand was built almost completely on word of mouth. Our like life to date marketing spend over the however many years we've been doing this, 4 years, we've been doing this for 4 years. I think we've spent less than $5 million marketing this brand from the beginning of time, which is very different than most startups in the world. Like most startups are very marketing heavy. This was all word of mouth. This is moms telling other moms all day long. And we like to say at camp that the mommy gangs run strong. That has a huge positive effect on our growth, and it has forever, but it also works in the other direction. If we piss one mom off, we piss a lot of customers off. So that same thing that built the brand is one of the biggest risks to the brand is people are trusting us with their kids, their family, and they're choosing to spend their time with us. So making sure that the quality of service we deliver, the quality of the products we're selling, and so on, is the number one thing that could go wrong. There's a lot of implications around safety and all sorts of other things, but that's like the number one thing we worry about as a brand. The second is that we let the complexity of this business model get in the way of the success. So I can't think of a more complicated startup. We're building physical retail stores with ephemeral shows that travel between all of our different locations. We cast each show locally. We build media around each show locally. We have to physically move 10,000 square feet of set pieces every 4 months between our locations. We are then integrating brand partnerships and sponsors into our storytelling. And that takes incredible agility. It takes a team that is willing to figure it out at every turn. And this is why I think the whole COVID experience we had was actually very positive to us, because it taught us how to be agile, how to jump into things and make the most of any situation thrown at us. So that'd be number 2, is just somehow stopping to be agile, and starting to like plan 7 years in the future and do things real companies do. That worries me. I don't think that would be good for us. And lastly, I think one of our biggest advantages as a company is how we kind of roll with whatever's happening in the world. And the COVID examples were good ones there. And I think that as long as we continue to bob and weave through it, we'll make really cool stuff. So I will now talk you through what it's like to partner with Disney. That's a choice you're not allowed to make. We've made it for you. So directly prior to shutting our stores down, we had a partnership with Disney in place, and then the entire team didn't exist anymore. And we spent 2.5 years getting back to where we were right before COVID. And when we started this company, we had a simple premise, which was, is it possible to build Disney in reverse? So Disney started with movies and films and IP, as people would say, and it ended with theme parks and merchandise and all sorts of things like that. We said, well, what if we start with theme parks? Start with small theme parks in people's neighborhood that they can make their home, and then build incredible loyalty, build an audience, and then slowly start to get people comfortable with the fact that camp has stories to tell also. And so it was always a dream of ours to partner with Disney, and finally, in January of this year, we announced that we were going to be building Disney themes. It was also in January of this year that we started thinking about what Disney shows could look like at camp. So on January 15th, just walk you through a normal timeline at camp. On January 15th, the man with the mustache behind you, that's Kirk Larson, came up with the idea, well, what if we shrunk families? No, we were building Mickey and Friends Camp, and the whole idea around Mickey, and Mickey is a hard nut to crack because there's no storyline in Mickey. Any other Disney property, like you could be like, oh, it's Star Wars, so let's put a thing there and that there. But with Mickey, there's no storyline. We had to create our own storyline, and we wanted it to be true to camp. So the idea that Kirk came up with was, you're coming to camp to celebrate Mickey's birthday, and camp holds dozens of birthdays a week. So that's a normal thing that happens. But something goes wrong. Goofy wants to take a picture of you and your family, but instead of picking up a camera, he picks up a shrink ray. And he shrinks you and your family, and everything that should be at a camp birthday party, like presents and food and music, is now super big, and you're super small, and you have to put the shrink ray back together and save the day and have Mickey's birthday. We had this idea on January 15th. We opened that show. This is with Disney approvals, custom merchandise, fabrication of a set, etc. on Memorial Day. So that speaks to how we do things here. So I'll show you what this looks like. This is Mickey and Friends Camp, which opened on Memorial Day and is closing in about a week down to Fifth Avenue to move to our Dallas location. So everything you see here is part of our traveling show that will move from one store to the next. So you enter the cabin, you're met with a counselor, custom animation done by the team, you get shrunk, Goofy is so big, you then run through the grass, up the presents, sit in the kaleidoscope, slide down presents. Goofy that was Donald throwing you a animatronic microchip. That's Steamboat Willie in a snow globe. Spinning on a hot dog, throwing strawberries at a cake, throwing popcorn around a room. And then you finally find the shrink ray. You put all of the microchips back in the shrink ray. You enter the shrink ray. You pull the lever from shrink to unshrink. You get to the unshrink zone. Finally, Mickey's birthday is saved. And of course, please buy some product. Yay! our second Disney show launches in just about 3 weeks. What we are trying to do at camp, and we are early in our journey, is build a national brand, a global brand that families grow up with. When I say what brands do families grow up with, what would be your answer to that question? And you cannot say Disney. Pixar's Disney. General. I mean, yeah. Lego, Nikes, yeah, yeah. Subaru. I mean, I'm into it. I love Subarus. Our difficulty answering that question is the opportunity that led us to start the most difficult startup you could possibly start, which is we believe that there is no number two. There is no brand that families grow up with truly as a unit together, kids and parents together having fun. And we don't know where that's going to take us. We don't know if that's us writing our own books and movies and so on, or creating more and more shows for other folks, et cetera. But we do know that it needs to exist. There needs to be a place local in neighborhoods that gets you, off your devices, having fun, and making memories together. And we hope to be that brand. And we've gotten this far because we do weird stuff with other brands, and that helps establish not just the products that we put into the world, but allows brands to reach young families in really tactile, unconventional ways. And so that's, I think, the extent of my spiel. I appreciate you guys being the guinea pigs for my first Choose Your Own Adventure keynote. Didn't go quite well, but I tried. Yes. He has a question. Yes is the answer to the question. We currently have a store in South Norwalk, Connecticut. We have one in suburban Boston. I grew up in Long Island, so it's like very low on my list. But I do. I actually very much agree with you. I think it'd be great. Thank you all. Bye.